What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in today to Channel 99. We're doing a date cast. I got Andrew Coussens. He is the author of A Failed State. We'll have him discuss a little bit about that here in just a second, so you have an idea of his background. We've also got Justine. She is in the house as one of our other guests, the female guest, to give us a little bit of a dynamic...
Very important.
Yeah, a little bit of a dynamic discussion here. We talked about relationships, social media, some of the difficulties that we come up with when we're dating, and everything in between. So make sure that you subscribe to us, share this episode, listen to the end because it's a really good show. Andrew, do you want to just explain real quick on your failed state what it's about?
Yeah.
And how it relates to this conversation?
Obviously, changed my status on social media quite a bit to reflect the fact that I'm an author, which published author, which is a first for me. But A Failed State is a book that is, although fiction, talks about the real life toll war takes on families, marriages, children, relationships, as well as what goes into the dedication of those downrange and all they do and dedicate themselves to for the country. So great book. I've got a speaking engagement at Jump on November 27th about what inspired the second book that's now in production called Relapse, and I'm going to be at Jump November 27th at 7 p.m. Jump Boise, of course, is the venue, and I will be relaying a 12-minute story along with two other authors. So
it's awesome.
Exciting event, yeah.
So
glad to be here.
Everybody can find you on Facebook at A Failed State Novel, Instagram, A Failed State Novel. And then if you want to purchase the book, it's going to be at like Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can get an ebook.
Yeah, Amazon, iTunes, holy cow, Sony, Barnes & Noble, and then of course if they want a signed hardcover, they just go to afailedstate.com and I can facilitate that there.
Awesome. That's what's up. Give another shout out to our other sponsors, Rhino Rush. Go ahead and run by rhinorush.com. We get hooked up, so it's channel 9915. That's CHANNEL 9915. Go stock up on some Rhino Relax. Get faded. And also shout out to Jack's Nutrition. They're running an extended promotion on our on Pro Edge Nutrition, which is how I afford the studio. So they're doing a 2 for $40, a 1 for $30, a 2 for $40, and a 3 for $50 deal on our volumizer. It is our overstock from the collegiate and high school athletic seasons this last fall. So we want to get rid of those and in the hands of the public. Swing by Jack's Nutrition. Ask about MEP meals if you want to have your MEP meals prepared for you, if you are training and prepping for whatever it is that you have goals for. Once again, thanks for tuning into Channel 99 and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Shut up and sit down.
Recording, but I mean they put kids on a lot of weird shit, and I think a lot of these kids who are now in their 20s who are put on Ritalin and stuff when it was in its infancy stages of actually being like monitored, a lot of these kids have problems, man.
Yeah,
like I know a lot
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Like dependence problems, and that's not just like dependence on like the drug itself, but like dependence on other people, like relying on other people to do things for you. Yeah, because like at that point you're treated like you have some type of a handicap, and in reality it's like, nah, he's just thinking of doing another thing while he's doing what he's doing right now. Like that's, you know, you might have a problem multitasking.
It's a normal
Everybody's
form.
ADD.
Yeah.
Everybody's ADD. And every child, yeah, I'm so ADD. That's why I'm prescribed medication. But I mean, I haven't taken it in 2 weeks. Today was the first day I got my script filled, only because I haven't had a car, so I can't drive to Costco.
Right.
So, and I don't feel like Ubering and paying 3 times the cost of my prescription to get my prescription.
There you go.
I can live with that, right? So, but I mean, when you go there, you realize, like, dude, they got lines, and there's a lot of people on those drugs, and a lot of those are like moms going in for their kids for their, like, ADD meds, dude, because they don't want to deal with their kids.
I never put my kids on there, man. And my kids, like, you know, clearly my son's just like me, and I was ADD. My middle son, Cash, the sponsor writer, he's just like me. He just like gets bored, and I'm like, dude, you know, you got to keep yourself on tap. Like I'd rather do it like homeopathically, you know, and just.
And how do you do that homeopathically?
His diet's good. You know, obviously keeping his vitamin levels and stuff up through like multis and just the right foods, and then of course. You know, I just make sure that he exercises the shit out of himself, and then he's usually like calmer. Mm-hmm. So if he can't focus, he's like, I can't focus. I'm like, just go lift weights or go throw the ball down at the ball field for an hour. Yeah, and he'll do that, and then he comes back and he has a lot easier time focusing when he's, you know.
And I think that's probably why a lot of kids nowadays are being prescribed medication, because what they do is they go home and they're on like iPads and stuff all day.
Oh,
they're
yeah, glued to it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't have that, man. Like, we had kickball. You found the kids in the neighborhood. You called like your friend's house and you're like, hey, can Johnny come out and play? There was no cell phone stuff.
I had neighbors knocking on my door. Can Justine come ride a scooter?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we did. Or you'd go make a mud pie or something in your backyard with mud, water, and grass or something, you know?
Yeah.
No, honestly, though, like, I think that helps is like the iPad stuff, but I don't want them on it all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way some people get their kids to be quiet, though, is they like freak out. My friend's guilty of it. She'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, fine, here."
It's like a binky.
You just give in like that.
Well, I mean, like you're saying, it does help. I'm a huge fan of video games. Any type of interaction, I think it's important. You know, for certain types of development. And problem solving, you know, teaches kids to think differently. But at the same time, you do need human interaction. And you need to go out and do things with other people and have that intimacy, you know. One of the common topics that rolls through the studio is AI and how it's slowly taking over everything. And, I mean, give it, you know, 20, 30 years, dude, and our kids, you know, our grandchildren in 30 years are going to be 4 and 5 years old, maybe. Who knows? Depends on when I have kids. You know, but like at that time, those kids they might be connected directly to technology. It might be just something that is like, you know, circumcised. Okay, do you want an implant? You know, like, you know, like it could be part of like life. You know, they chip you at that point.
They chip you, yeah, right.
That's some scary
Okay,
shit.
you're programmed to do this one day.
You're tracked, and then you don't really know if you actually do have choices. They could pre-program that AI, and you think you have that free will, but you actually don't because it's pre-programmed in
right.
there. And
Elon Musk warned about that.
That's what he's talking about. Yeah, totally. Alex Jones, same thing. Different angles, same topic. And same end destruction of the world.
Of course,
good versus evil.
They're not going to want like carbon-based life forms around. I mean, no way.
So
beat it.
Yeah, and everybody who's listening, welcome to Channel 99. This is a date cast. We are sitting here with Andrew Coussens. He's the author of A Failed State. He was on our Pro Edge podcast, and we talked a little more military, more professional stuff. And one of the topics we touched on that episode was a little bit of how the military wreaks havoc, especially deployments, how they wreak havoc on personal lives, relationships, and whatnot. So I figured we'd get him back on the show. This is something that's constantly requested on my channel, is to do more shows about dating. So we've got a great dynamic. And Andrew has how many kids?
3.
He's got 3 kids. How old are they?
13, 11, and 9.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they're a
there.
little bit older.
Yeah.
So it's not like if you're dating somebody, they're helping you raise your kids at that point. Like, these kids take care of themselves for the most part.
Well, yeah, you got to be careful who you cycle through. If you date a lot, you can't be cycling prospective clients through the house. You know, you got to be very judicious with it and make sure that all your stars align with theirs. That's the hardest part, right? Mm-hmm. People that are on the same page are harder to find, and then of course, not to mention finding women that are willing to become part of an instant family. I mean, that's the goal, man. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, and speaking of women, and somebody who would probably date an older guy who might have a family. We've got Justine here. What's up, girl?
What's up?
And she's on the other side of the spectrum. So we've got Andrew, who's an established veteran. He's kind of been around for a while, and he's kind of seen the landscape of dating over the last little while, at least. And he's
Century.
got kids. Yeah. And we've got Justine. She's in her early 20s. She's exploring. She's the Tinder world Tinder girl. Do you Tinder a lot?
Do not Tinder.
No. Wow, good for you.
I'm not about the Tinder.
Good for you. Oh, man, shame on me. But you are on the other side of the spectrum where you might be dating people with kids.
So for me,
No?
like, I haven't dated someone with kids. I started seeing someone at one point that had kids, but I don't have anything against it. But for me, I have met people that have kids and they're not mature enough, which is so weird to think about because, like, you have kids, you should be grown up.
Yeah.
So
my friends' parents are still not mature enough to raise kids. And
See?
my friends are in their 30s and they were raised by these
Exactly.
people. So,
Oh boy.
see, and that's kind of for me, and I'm stuck right in the middle. I'm like going on early 30s, almost mid 30s. I'm 33 in a few weeks, and everybody that I meet, for the most part, that's my age, they have a kid, and there's baggage, and it's usually fresh baggage.
Fresh, yes.
Yeah,
That's a
like
good word,
these are a lot of the
fresh.
chicks that are coming out of like long relationships, and they've got like 2 kids with this dude, and they've been together for like 10, 12 years, and like, and so those are a lot of the women that I interact with, and like you, I don't have anything against kids. I dated a girl for 1.5 years who had a son, and I love the kid. He's a great boy. She's raised him well. His dad's raised him well, and I wish the kid the best in life. And it does complicate things because at the end of the day, like, if you don't know you're going to be with them forever, but you still want to be a part of that kid's life because that kid's cool. You know what I'm
you
saying?
have that.
Like,
Well, you build that rapport and that relationship over time with
yeah,
them.
totally. And you've probably dated people with kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And is it difficult introducing your kids to other kids? Like, that's one thing that I've always been intrigued about. But like, it's kind of weird. It's like introducing your dogs, but like, but you don't have to run in there and save something.
Right.
So it's actually
Somewhat.
easier. I dated this time last year. I dated a gal that has a son that plays football in the same league as my son does, not in the same team. And it was actually easier. They really liked each other, and they were excited to get together. So it made it easy for me to facilitate dating. But the problem is, and you'll find this out when you are with people that have kids, because if you decide you're going to raise your kids a certain way, or you've raised your kids a certain way, and they're not in that same lane, or they're really lenient with their kids, or they let their kids do whatever they want, or they spoil them, you're like, oh
Yeah.
dear Lord. I mean, that's a whole separate dynamic, and it's it's just like,
I was totally
Yeah.
thinking about that earlier too when we introduced you as having some kids. It's like, what if you're dating somebody who they're like, my kids aren't vaccinated, and you don't agree with it, or maybe, you know, like they have different methods. I guess it depends on how old the kids are too, though, right? Because
it does. I think I think I'd be okay with an unvaccinated kid to some extent, as long as they weren't communicable at the time,
Oh, right.
right? But
I don't know enough about
Yeah.
that stuff, so honestly, I don't have an opinion.
it's more about how lenient they are with their kids. I think the problems I had were the woman that I was dating at the time was really like let her kids just get away with murder, and I was like they were like doing everything short of snorting lines of sugar off the kitchen table, and I was like, whoa, we
Jeez.
we do low sugar in my house, which sounds like, I sound like a granny, but
Swap that out with some
We
sweet
use
and low
Splenda.
chocolate.
yeah, we do a different brand. No, literally though. I mean, you laugh, but I was like, whoa, we don't do a lot of sugar in my house. My kids eat healthy. Obviously, we talked a little bit about my son's needs, but yeah, I was like, and I thought this in my head at the time. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, this is not gonna work, man. I raised my kids a certain way, and that's the way it is. So you really need to narrow it down and find somebody totally compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, you might be compatible and you might have good chemistry and a connection, but if their kids are just, mutants, I mean, no offense. I'm not trying to like, but if they're
I think it's a reflection on that person, to be honest with
bit.
you. So chances are pretty good that that's going to translate into some part of their life. So there's a reason why their kids are acting that way.
Yeah.
So their kids are acting out because they don't get the attention from their mom, maybe. Maybe they don't get the attention from their dad, and so they act a certain way just to get the negative attention, or they, they haven't been taught how to control themselves. I don't know, dude. I don't raise kids, but when growing up, that's what I would think. I'd be like, a lot of times, like, my friends who acted out, it's because, like, they were in a broken home, their mom was, like, out hustling around, and this kid was running streets, like, out skateboarding at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, he's 14 years old, just doing whatever he wants. And those are usually the kids that, unfortunately, they've either passed away now, at a young age, or they're in trouble.
Right.
So.
Well, it's bad enough that I have to scrutinize my kids' friends, but I also have to do it with whoever I date. If they have children, I have to do it with their
You have to.
kids as well. So now I'm like trying to interview everybody.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It's a ton.
Especially if you're bringing other kids in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole...
Because they'll stay over at the house, or if you know what I mean. And that's the easiest way to do it, I found. But, I mean, I'm sure Justine's got a totally different story, but with her dating life. But like, I had to coordinate, obviously, time that, okay, well, I'll be able to see you if our kids are friends and they stay at the house. Then that would work, I guess, in a way. But it's like you have to explain so much, and you have to take it slow, and you got to do the whole progression, of like, well, how do you guys feel about her and her kids? You have to ask your kids, so it's like this. It's
a lot of work, man.
Oh, it's crazy. You have to do this speed interview with your whole family and see if everybody's on board with it. Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah, I never really think of it like that. Usually, like, I don't have to introduce anybody to anybody, or like kids or anything, except my dog. Yeah, my dog loves everybody.
He's usually a big hit. So
she's pretty popular. She's a nice fella, nice girl.
Unless she has the bread bag, then she's not.
Unless she's stealing the bread bag.
Yeah,
this girl loves her fucking patties, her hamburger buns. Yeah, but
so I want to hear some of Justine's stories,
because
I don't think I've ever heard these. I've heard like tidbits, but not.
What do you want to know?
Do you date like the bro-y guys, or do you date like the athletic guys, or do you date the geeky guys? What do you date? There's like geeky bros and geeky athletes out there.
Well, I guess I can't really categorize people, because for me, like,
I do.
There's certain ways I categorize people.
I bucket them all. I throw them in all types.
All types.
All types of categories.
It's hard to specify on that, because there are, obviously everybody has their own attraction, but for me, I don't know, like, personality really reels me in. Someone could be kind of off, like, attraction-wise, and then you're like, okay, you actually are going somewhere in life, you're successful, you have this planned out, and then you meet someone else who's, like, super attractive, and you're like, okay, so you like live with your parents still, and you're a
34-year-old barista, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big factor nowadays too. Is everybody's just kind of not successful that I've talked to recently. They all just kind of like sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, but what kind of guys do you attract though? Because I can tell you, I attract certain girls, and it's like, and it's not bad whatsoever. I just attract a certain type of girl, and it's been consistent for the last like 10 years of my life. So I know the types of girls
that a problem
who come out and talk to me.
What kind of girls?
Really.
Yeah, has that been a problem?
What kind of girls do you attract then?
Usually they're Scorpios.
We're going into that.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're the girls who fall hard quick when they find somebody that they're very attracted to.
Yeah.
Like, they're very difficult girls to get to know, but they fall hard once they want to get to know you. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, I think I attract the insecure guys.
And then I'm like, fuck,
seriously,
really?
Like, they're so, like, some of them are so they're either super secure with themselves, and they're like all about themselves, so much love that it's like, okay, dude, I get it, you love yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's other dudes that are like want so much attention from you because they they don't know how else to find it
They
unless
have,
it's from you and like
mommy issues. Is that
maybe
kinda
it
how
could be
is?
that.
What kind of age bracket are we talking?
Yeah.
Oh God. I know people that are 36 that have that issue that are like have 2 kids and they still have to like
Wow.
post all their stuff, and then later it's like, I really wish I could find love and this and that and myself.
They
and
post all their
depressed.
stuff. Sorry,
Like
what
on
do you mean?
Instagram and stuff. Like that's all they post is
Oh, just depressing stuff.
yeah, and then
Like they can't find that person.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, dude, she's
All the
our
dog loves.
mascot. Yeah,
All the dog loves.
We can give her attention on this
Super
show
needy.
because I don't get paid for this show.
Yeah, not yet. So
Yeah, not yet. So she adds a little bit of character. Ada, hey, push her down. Push her down.
You're cute.
So you don't discriminate. You date dudes like, what's the youngest guy? Because you're how old again? 23.
23, yeah.
It's a good age.
The young
she's not like your general 20. And I'll have some stories to follow, but she's generally
yeah.
like you're not like your average 23-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because they're usually not mission focused on work and school and everything.
They're
you know,
like
as much.
party party
yeah.
people.
in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah, or they're really self-absorbed and into their social media, or you know what I mean. They're just not that.
I had a girl come at me about her social media one time. She's like, how many followers do you have on Instagram? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, what do you do for work? And I was like, work. Like, she was just like being one of those ditzy drunk chicks. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, I've got 3,000 followers on Instagram and I only have one friend. And I only follow one person. And I'm like,
winner. You're
how
a
many?
winner.
Yeah, when I was like, how many of those people pay for your mortgage? How many of
There
those
you go,
people?
there you
How
go.
many people buy shit from you and give you money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's think about that.
Did you buy those followers?
Yeah. Did you
That's a
buy those
thing.
followers?
That's
yeah.
a thing.
That's another
People
thing.
buy followers.
I made a post about that the other day. Somebody was like trying to make fun of my followers because it's like all organic, but I have an engagement rate of like 15%.
Yeah, that's the difference,
You
right?
know, like I have 450 followers, but like 60 people is a decent amount. You know, what is that? 15%
Yeah.
of 400. So you're looking at an engagement rate of that versus some people who have like 40,000 followers, and you look at their page and they have like 80 likes, and I'm like, dude,
Right?
obviously you're buying
Exactly.
some follows. Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna have to compare my engagement rate against yours, Tim. So
Yours is probably pretty good, but I'm saying if
I'm
your
just kidding.
engagement rate is
Yeah.
less than like I'm gonna just say it, and I don't do any analytics on anything like this stuff. I don't study it, but I'm going to assume that anything lower than like a 7 or 8% engagement rate is probably pretty low.
Yeah,
Like you
and-
want at least 10%.
And I just learned all this stuff. And I was telling Justine this earlier. I just learned all this stuff recently. Like I didn't know.
I'm still learning it.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a lot
Dude,
to learn.
Teach
it's a
me
steep
when
learning
you
curve.
learn something, because I'll teach you.
Well, I've got somebody doing my social media for the first time, and which means that I don't post everything that's on there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of weird when something pops up. You're like, ooh, okay.
Well, and I need an intern. What I need to do is be like, hey, somebody want to be an intern, and I'll pay you like organic growth. I'll pay you,
Yeah.
like a nickel a follow. Because if you get me 100 follows in a day, and it only takes you like 5 minutes, or I'll give you like $1 a follow or whatever. It makes more sense. $1 a follow.
That'd probably get you a better quality
Probably,
candidate.
Yeah.
There you go.
And maybe like
Because that's what everyone cares about. Follows and
Well,
likes.
apparently, this is crazy. I didn't know this. I ran a promotion for Channel 99 Studios. I didn't know that I ran it. I had set it up, but I never hit like to push to like do the push marketing basically. And I didn't comply with it, didn't put my credit card on file, nothing like that. And then all of a sudden, I just started getting all these likes on the page. And then I got like an update from Facebook that said, you engaged 690 people this week on your promotion and got 20 new likes in the last 48 hours. Some weird shit like
yeah.
that. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then they were like, and then they broke it down. You paid $1.50 per like on this. But I'm going to assume it probably just because they gave me a credit on my account, so I'm going to assume that it automatically just closed it and pushed that marketing forward because I was like on the last step and I was like, I don't really want to add my credit card and stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But probably the same thing, but people now are public figures. You can just go to like these backside like companies and they'll guarantee so many likes, and over a certain amount of time. But the problem is it's the engagement.
Yeah, the engagement's huge.
If like you don't have the engagement, it doesn't matter how many views you have. Like if I have a video that has 100,000 views and 0 likes or thumbs up, a lot of people will probably be like, what's wrong? Nobody likes that thing?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Nobody's actually watching this? What's going on?
As an author, I need a deeper engagement than that. And obviously, I got to be careful with that word because we're talking about dating. But it needs to,
Right.
So people actually need to go to not only the page, but go to the site, and then they have to engage by obviously buying an ebook or a book or doing a review. Mm-hmm. So I need I have layers of that engagement. So if I only get initial engagement and somebody likes the page or likes the book but decides not to buy it, then I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's not going to work. So I still haven't figured that out. But
well, again, they're not. You're paying for those likes at that point, and that's costing you money. And those people, if they're not engaging, they're not going to be buying the shit that you're pushing. Exactly. So you're just it's a sunk cost every time.
Yep.
It's an ego boost at that point. But yeah, so dating nowadays with people your age, that's probably something they look at. They're probably like, oh, how many followers do they have on Instagram? Why is this profile private? Who's the bitch he's hiding? Right? Stuff like that, I bet.
All the time.
And I'm going to assume most dating for people your age is not going to be an organic meetup like for people like us. Little older people typically will still engage like on a Facebook,
like the grocery store,
the grocery store.
Because that's all I got.
I was at Costco today, and I was in the checkout line, and one of the checkers next to us came over and was offering to help pack my boxes, and then she whispered something to my checker, and at the time I was in line behind the lady just wrapping up, like paying for her stuff. So she just started ringing my stuff up, and I noticed this girl, she was giving me these looks, and she talks to the lady who's checking out, and then the lady that was checking me out, her assistant came back, so the girl split and went back to her other station, which was like right next to one or two over, whatever. But when I checked out, the lady asked me if I was married. Which was, I thought was kind of inappropriate, to be honest, because it was like backed up at Costco, and she's like, excuse me, don't take any offense, but are you married? And I was like, no, not married. She's like, are you dating anybody? I don't want to be rude. And I'm like, no, I'm not dating anybody. Why, what's up? Because I kind of knew, I had a feeling this chick was like eyeing me down. It was weird, dude. Because
did you have your skateboard? Maybe it was a skateboard.
It might have been my skateboard. My mom actually drove me. So my mom was waiting for me. It was like a mom Sunday. It was kind of embarrassing.
That's even more embarrassing.
I didn't know what to do, though. I was like totally embarrassed. I've never had that happen before. She was like, well, that girl, so-and-so, she said her name, but I don't remember. It was like a foreign name. Like a Slavic name or something, and she's like, well, so and so came up to me and she just noticed that you're very attractive, and she was just wanting me to mention that to you, so I did my good deed today. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck do I say right now, because I'm in a rush. I'm trying to, like, my mom's like waiting for
that's
me.
What you should have said. You should have said, hey, my mom can give us a ride
my mom can give us a ride home
after work.
But no, that was bold though, because for the most part, women obviously don't approach men. I mean, they do, but it's not common.
So, yeah, that's true.
And a lot of them, definitely not in public, are going to make like a move like that. It's attractive though when a girl does approach somebody and they have confidence like that.
Unless
I've
they
done
do it
that
all the
before.
time. Right.
What's that? Unless they do
you
it all the
have?
time.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I got to hear this.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'd been single for 2 years, and I was like, this is going to be fun. Let's just screw around with this. Well, I'm out at dinner with my best friend, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, that guy over there is pretty cute. Well, they all kept looking over, and it was this huge baseball team. Well, we're in Pocatello, ISU, up there, so she is like, are you going to go talk to him? And I'm like, I don't know, because, it's not common, like we just said. Yeah. So what do? I buy him a drink from my table.
No way.
I bought him a drink.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
Does not happen. Ever. No.
Yeah, I bought him a drink, and it went over there, and then he like looked at me, because obviously the waitress was like, yeah, that girl over there, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he came over, and then we started talking, and we actually dated for a little bit.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Good for you. It
was interesting. I was like, ooh, bold move.
He had too much baggage, Justine. Is that what happened?
There was baggage.
Was he 36 with like 2 kids and
no,
Lordy, mommy issues? Do you deal with a lot of like dudes with mommy issues though? Like a lot of guys with problems, like just they want to be taken care of or something? Is that what mommy issues are? Like dudes who want to be taken care of? Is that what they call it?
I guess you could call it that. They like to be taken care of.
Yeah. They like to be cared for.
They need all that attention, all the
like you're the big spoon.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
That's
I'm
a whole
big
different
spoon.
breed of dudes, but some
Right?
do like that.
Oh, yeah.
Some dudes like to be fucking spoons.
Yeah.
Go for it.
See, I don't feel like I should have to do that all the time. Like, come on.
No, you shouldn't.
It's
but
uncomfortable.
It's
weird.
it's funny when you.
It's kind of weird
when you
though.
hear about
Is it
it.
weird for a dude to be spooned? It's weird when I get spooned by a chick. I'm kind of like, what the fuck's going on?
I don't know. I mean, if you've been married, like, I was married for 11 years, so I enjoyed it. I rarely got it, but when I did get it, I was like, oh, this is nice.
She's cuddly.
Yeah.
Give me a back rub is what I usually say.
Usually it's after.
While you're back there, it's back rub.
For me, it was after like a long deployment or something where I was like, I want to be vulnerable for,
Yeah.
15 minutes. Right?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Not at all, especially if you're married to her. But for me, sometimes I feel like I'm trying to do back there. Crazy.
When I obviously I lost my wife, to a variety of issues, mostly alcoholism, depression, but and a whole nother story for a different time. But I didn't date for a year. My kids were the priority, and then when I started dating, I came out of like a dark well, and I did not know what the dating scene was like at all. Like it was a totally different animal, and it was so intimidating. So of course, buddy of mine's like, just get on a dating app, just try Tinder or something like that. And I was like, okay, I didn't know anything about it, and oh my god, that like set me back like to the prehistoric era. Because
it's so warped.
Is. Well,
it's
like,
overwhelming is what it is.
It's like going to your first concert and being thrown in the mosh pit. That's what I compare it to.
That's
you're
exactly.
just like, oh my Lord, you're like, hands up. So I met some interesting people. I mean, not that I'm sure I've got issues too, according to some others, but
I think everybody's got issues.
Yeah, and I was telling Justine about one of them. I mean, I did have a couple of chances to meet girls that are Justine's age or maybe in the same age bracket, which is too young for me, obviously. But one of them I was at the gym with. I met her and I was like, hey, I'm going to the gym. She's like, oh, I'll be there around such and such. We go to the same gym. And when she got there, between my sets, I walked over and she's like, oh yeah, I don't, when I'm here, I put in the work. I don't chat. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I went and sat back down, and just seconds later I get a text. Or a DM, actually, I think it was. And she's like, hey, how you doing? And stuff like that. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
What happened to being so...
Well, I go, so you're more comfortable...
not being seen with me, basically.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think she didn't mind being seen, but I think she was a lot more comfortable, like, texting. And conveying how she felt or what was going on over text, and she was verbally. Because I kept getting texted throughout my workout, and I'm like, wait a minute, you don't want me to come up and talk to you, but you're willing to text the whole time. So that was, that was an eye-opener, and obviously clearly didn't last long, but I just don't know how to relate to that mindset.
That's very common nowadays, though, especially with people my age. They just are so involved in texting. They don't call. They don't call, or they don't say, hey, let's meet up face to face and talk about this. Well, I'll just text them this huge book of something. When I get people that say that to me, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you can call me if you want to talk, or we can meet up face to face. I don't have time to read your book.
Dude, I was telling somebody not too long ago, like, I hung out with this girl like 3 times, and she left at like 2 o'clock one morning because I'd been working all day. She came over and she brought a bottle of wine at like midnight, and I drank like a glass, and I was out. I was dead. It's like a zombie. And
you're getting old.
Getting old, man. It was like midnight, and I'd been working. I worked all day. I did like 2 or 3 podcasts that night, and I kind of drank a little bit before that. So I was already kind of coming down from the shows earlier in the night, and I just wanted to go to bed, man. I'd been staring at screens all day. Didn't feel like watching a movie. But anyways, next day I get up, and there's like a long note basically telling me, if you want to hang out with me, then text me and tell me how you feel and how you want to like move forward. And I'm sitting there thinking, yo, I met you like a week and a half ago, and we've hung out like 3 times, and 2 of those 3 times I've worked and gone to bed early. The other time we went out and hung out for like 2 hours. So that's kind of weird. And that's
Scorpio?
I don't know. She might have been. Probably. She's a nice girl. I mean, she was cool, but at the same time, it's like, that's weird when you leave me a handwritten note. Like,
Does she have cats?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's a sign, though.
You don't have cats, Justine.
I don't have cats.
Good.
Like I said, dog.
Good.
Dog
Yeah,
lover.
dogs are normal. Some cat people are kind of weird. It's because they have that cat. What is it? Cats have that. It's the parasite that is transferred in their like poop, and it's like some crazy number, like 100 million people
What?
have it. It's like a parasite that just like. It's like airborne. So
Are you serious?
Yeah, totally.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a cat parasite. Let's Google this.
I did
shit,
not
man.
know that.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah,
That's
you know,
weird.
so for me, I've dated because I'm at that age where I'm 32, so I date girls who are, you know, between usually not too young, like 22 at the youngest,
Oh, boy.
and like
That's
36, 38 at the oldest. But the only constant is crazy. That's the only constant I found. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not relegated to that age bracket so much. I thought it was. I'm dating, you know, in my 30s now, which is obviously more socially acceptable for me. But it's not.
toxoplasmosis.
Yeah, you weren't kidding, man.
Yeah, parasite.
Weird.
Infection with the Toxoplasma gondii
It
parasite.
changes people's personality and shit, man. Like, it
Wow.
legitimately changes, like, they become more erratic, like, than they used to be. Like, not so noticeably different, but, like a majority of the U.S. has this. Like, most fucking people have this shit.
What the heck?
2
Guess
billion,
that's why I don't date cat people.
Yeah, right.
2 billion people around the world.
Oh my gosh.
So, we're talking
Oh,
about...
you weren't kidding.
No, not at all, man. So, yeah, it's
But
toxoplasma.
they say it reduces our fear of failure, so maybe that's
Yeah,
a
that's why
good
they're
thing.
more erratic and they're more sporadic. So a lot of times, like, when people have it and it's really bad, and by really bad I mean it like does noticeably change their personalities. But yeah, like, they become a lot of times like
I'll be
people who
damned.
kill a lot of people, or they do a lot of
Oh
like
my
extreme
gosh.
sports and shit like that. Like, people who don't have a fear, a lot of
Yeah.
them have fucking cats.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude, it's weird.
That is
Make all these
weird.
odd connections. But yeah, so that is one thing you do want to look for, though. Like, when you're
Toxoplasmosis.
dating somebody, unless you like cats. I mean, I got
So do you
nothing
like
against
cats?
it. But
Check.
dude, my cat story, I hate cats, man.
That's a whole nother radio show, bro.
Oh man, those things
Cats and
just don't
dogs.
like me.
I generally look for when I'm looking to date, I generally look for characteristics like obviously dog lovers and, you know, females that have dogs, but I also like you know, someone that's probably a little bit more on the conservative side and has a family that's, you know, uniquely Idahoan, I guess. Is that a way to, I don't know if that's a way to put it.
Well-rounded.
They've got good values.
Yeah, like just like
They're
they come from
raised
that
on a
kind of
firm
stock
foundation.
Yeah, they kind of come from that kind of stock. I mean, I have a doctor friend who's single. Well, not anymore. Actually, he's dating someone, but he's recently single, and he will only date women that fish and hunt.
Interesting.
So he's big on that. And,
But if that's a big part of your lifestyle, then you want someone maybe.
Well, exactly,
Yeah, that
exactly.
shares that.
but he is relegated to nurses because he works in the hospital so much, and he doesn't have a lot of time. But I mean, that's a big dating pool.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah. So it's like almost like speed dating.
It's like farmersonly.com kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, if
hospitalsonly.com.
Hospital Tinder. Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
And, you know, so like along those lines, I mean, they don't have to fish and hunt, but obviously they have to have some of the same values I do and to line up with what I like to do and my kids like to do and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's different, man, for us, you know, non-millennial types that, are, you know, are, I don't know, looking to date.
Well, and I think nowadays, where everybody wants to be treated equally and everybody feels that equality is of the utmost importance, which it is, I still believe that there are traditions that definitely go outside of that equality when it comes to the expectation that, like, guys always pay for shit. And I'm always fine with that when I invite somebody to hang out with, you know, and I invite them for their company, of course I got the bill. But now with Bumble, for instance, and other types of like dating apps, I guess nowadays I only use like Bumble and Tinder when I get bored. And yeah, let's be real, nobody ever goes on dates from Bumble and Tinder. No. And if they do, it's not often. And a lot of the women I've met on there, they're fucking crazy, man. Bless their hearts. They're beautiful people, but they're single and they're in their place in life for a reason because they're fucking crazy. But like, I think one of the expectations, especially one that I've had an issue with lately, is that like I always have to foot the bill, and I've been asked by like probably like 3 or 4 girls in the last like 6 months to go on dates. So it's not often that I get asked to go out. Right. And then they'll pick a place. They'll be like, hey, do you want to go here? You want to meet here and go grab drinks and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, totally. And then I get there fully expecting just to pay for my own meal. Yeah. Because I got asked to go hang out. Like I'm driving over and meeting this person at their choice of venue. Right. And then I end up almost being guilted into paying for like her meal, 2 drinks. And so I've started to try to filter this out. And like a few weeks ago, more like 2 weeks ago, there's a girl who messaged me and she asked me to go hang out with her. She's like, do you want to go hang out and go grab a drink? I was like, yeah, totally. Where do you want to go? If you want to go hang out, where do you want to go? And she was like, oh, I don't really care where we go. You go ahead and choose. And my response was, well, am I paying for both of our drinks? Or honest, am I just paying for my drink? Because
be upfront about it.
Yeah, like I think the way I put it was, I assume I'm probably paying. So do you want me to like choose? Because if you're going to pay for your drink, you go ahead and choose. I can get a rum and Coke anywhere. Yeah. And some people are really picky about their drinks, and I'm not.
Or where they get that drink. Sometimes it's better than the other.
Yeah, totally. And I get that. And so I just wanted to like be straight up and honest. I know she just broke up with a guy, so I don't want to be like, I'm the last fucking dude that you want to see with your ex-girlfriend that you just broke up with like a week ago. You know, like, yeah. So I told her that up front. I was like, hey, listen, I know you're fresh off of like a relationship. I don't want to be like looked at as this dude who's coming in to ruin everything. I assume I'm paying for this drink. So go ahead and pick where you want to go. I'm more than happy to pay for my own stuff. No, I don't want to hang out with you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. She got totally mad.
See, that's what...
She got upset that I was like calling her out. Like, do you like... I think she got pissed because I called her out on her shit. Like, don't use me as a way to get back at your ex-boyfriend. I'll pay for my own fucking drink. I'll hang out with you and I'll listen to your sob story. Yeah, you know, at the end of the day. Yeah, I'll hang out. But at the end of the day, it's like, don't ask me to hang out and then expect me to pay for your shit.
And then get mad when I...
And then just get mad when I just
what your game plan is.
Let me just.
You were too upfront. Is the problem? I think.
Okay, so is that?
Well, don't be sneaky.
Or is being blunt a bad thing? I feel like it's such a bad thing nowadays.
You tell us because we're
I just got shot down on it by being blunt.
I feel like I get shot down for being blunt as a girl, so that's why I'm always asking people. I'm like,
depends what you're blunt about.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm gonna be blunt, I'm also very like nice about it. I try not to be like the hardcore bitch who's like, okay, listen up, you know, like I try to come across in a nice way to someone, because, you know, I don't know, if I was my best friend, I'd be like, okay, I could talk to her a certain way, but if it's my boss, like, she's pretty blunt, but I'm not gonna sit there and be like, and go off on her.
Right.
So I've tried to ask people that if being blunt is a bad thing, because I feel like I've had that same situation where you're blunt and you're upfront because you know already ahead what might happen, and then they're like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Well, you can be blunt and not be rude. There's a difference between being rude and like just being honest with somebody, and I think like, yes, you have to be a little tactful when it comes to like addressing certain people, because let's be real, a lot of people were raised sensitive. Very soft. Yeah. Very. Yes. I was raised. My dad's a retired lieutenant colonel. It was like drill at my house every day.
That's how it is in my house too. So.
Yeah. Well, your kids will grow up to respect authority, but they'll ask questions and they'll be very confident in what they do and shit. And that's exactly how I was raised. And Nowadays, there is none of that. Guys, dude, there's so many soft guys out there.
There's no backbone.
There's no backbone. You can't be rude to anybody nowadays.
Oh,
and
yeah.
by being rude, being
You're stepping
honest.
on eggshells. Seriously, like, okay, am I gonna hurt them? Am I gonna piss
luckily-
them off? Am I gonna?
Right.
And then even on social media, you're like, oh, is that post about me? Like everybody thinks every little thing, and you're like, oh my
But luckily,
gosh.
we live in Idaho, so it's like the last bastion of you know, you can do what you want, and you know, you don't have to worry about being so sensitive. But I mean, it's headed in that direction, I guess. But.
Yeah. Well, it's Boise, and I think Idaho is probably one of the better places to live without having to disrupt too many people's emotional
Yeah.
their emotional states, I guess. Like, I don't know. I've been pretty blunt with a lot of people, especially when dating. I like to tell people up front, like, this is my life. This is what I do. I'm busy. Like, you either with me or not. Let's be real.
That's good,
and a lot of
though.
times,
I'm down with
they're
that.
totally cool with it. And a lot of times they get offended and they think that it's not that I have things to do. It's that I don't want to hang out with them. You know.
That's true.
Which is like, no, it's not that I don't want to hang out with you. Come hang out with me when I do this.
Yeah.
But just know I got to do this. So it's not that I don't want to hang with you. It's just that I got to get the shit done.
This is a priority.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have that issue too.
Yeah.
I mean, even just with friends, it's like that too. If they don't have that same mindset, they're not already, like for me, I go to work full time and I go to school full time. So I have those friends that are the same way, and they're like, okay, I get it. Like, you can't hang out. Let's plan this. And then I have those people who sit on their ass all day. And they're like, well, why can't you hang out all the time? How come you can't come do this? I'm like, because I have stuff to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't have everything paid for. Like, it's got to get done somehow.
See, and like for me, I don't even have to deal. I have to deal with the aftermath of the people that you deal with that sit on their ass and everything's paid for. The people I have to deal with are the people who were there 10 years ago and they still don't know what they're doing with their life. And the people that you probably have to deal with, you know, who were like that 15, 16 years ago, they're probably in a worse state. They're probably still unhappy or still single, not doing anything with their lives, still don't know what they want to do when they grow up.
I don't want to.
So I'm just saying, like, a lot of those people, that eventually is going to stay with them. You're going to develop certain habits, expectations of being, you know, at that point taking care of, you know, mommy issues at that point. Like, maybe their moms took care of them too much, and now that they're out in the real world, good luck finding a girl who's going to take care of you all the time.
Well,
man.
I know people that are like, I've never done laundry a day in my life. And I'm like,
dude.
And they will drive their laundry to their mom's house. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
And they're 20.
And yeah, it's not that hard.
How old are they, honestly?
There's some that are 20, but I have had late 20s and early 30s.
I believe
that
it,
do
dude.
that.
Not good.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Dude.
This is why you're single.
Well, it's all about how you're raised, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You know, and I was fortunate enough to like have good parents who raised me to like be able to contribute in whatever capacity I needed to make a relationship work, you know. And if you know, if it fails, then obviously it's something you learn from, you move on, you know. But I have a lot of friends and a lot of people who've lived here because I rent this room out, and you know, I notice a lot of like living, like certain behaviors that people have when they're living with other people.
Yeah.
There's commonalities between everybody I've lived with. The exact same style of living. Like, they don't do certain things. They don't clean certain things. They have no respect for certain things. And every one of the people who have the consistencies throughout the way that they live and they cohabitate, they all lead to the fact that these people are all still single and have troubles with all of their relationships. And I've seen it throughout the last decade of my life.
Yeah.
Kids in college that, you know, I lived with and I roomed with all through college, you know, the ones who had their shit together and could cohabitate and like work well with others, they've been married for years. They got kids. They're happy. The ones who didn't clean up their dishes, they never vacuumed, they never took care of anything, they never cleaned the fridge. You can just push her down. She's in one of those moods tonight.
She's in a needy mood.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people you're talking about.
Yeah. But those are the people. I mean, when let's say the paper towels. Let's say the paper towels are out.
Okay.
They wouldn't go buy, and they use the paper towels all the time.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go just buy paper towels. They just let it sit for like 3 weeks until I bought them, and then they would use all the paper towels again.
Yeah.
These are the types of people who don't have anything to contribute when it comes to living with somebody else. It is always a take.
Yeah.
In fact, I've never had in the last 3.5 years of people living in my house, nobody's ever bought. I've had my floors vacuumed maybe 5 times, because I cleaned all the fucking time. They never swept and mopped. I think my floors were mopped by 2 of the 3 people who've lived here. One of them lived here for like a year and a half, never mopped the floor.
Dang.
Yeah, these are the people that I deal with. That's why they rent from people
Just like dating, you got to be direct
Yeah.
with what you
you
want.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's true. And eventually you get to that point where you start to vet people out beforehand. And I tell, I have a guy moving in here in a week, and I told him, I was like, straight up, this is how it is, man. You're late on rent. I put your shit on the curb. Like, you give me a good excuse, I'll hold it for a couple weeks, but make sure you clean, make sure you wipe shit down. Like, don't fill the dishwasher halfway full and leave like 3 forks and like a glass and like a bowl out there, and fill it 95%. If I've got a fucking spoon in there, throw the spoon in the dishwasher. These are the types of people. They only do what they do. Like, anything they touch.
This is my Tupperware, so I do. Yeah.
They like wipe down the corner of the table. Wipe the whole fucking table down, bro. Like, that's just wipe the table down.
Well,
even if
like
you're a girl. I've had girls and guys both that have lived in this house. They all have the exact same living behaviors, and it's they only worry about themselves. They only look out for themselves, but they expect everything else around them.
There you
to be
go,
taken
man.
care of.
That probably speaks volumes about their dating habits as well, right? I would imagine.
That's what I'm saying. Every single one of them has the exact same problem with dating. They cannot keep a relationship because once these people recognize that they have to take care of this person, people who want to settle down, if you settle down for somebody who doesn't take care of their own shit, they can't keep their house clean.
I've been there.
You know what I'm saying? If they can't even keep their own room clean, you're in for a fucking rude awakening.
Oh yeah.
And that really is something I look for when I'm dating a girl or I'm hanging out with a girl. Like, I look at her house. I'm like, is this clean? Because I've cleaned up after enough fucking people that I've dated, and even when I was married, I cleaned up after her all the time, and it gets to the point where it's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like, that makes sense. That's why nobody else wants to be with you guys, because they recognize it.
Right.
Well, people just start expecting it. Once you just do it, they're like, they'll do it.
Yeah.
That's how it got from. Right. Yeah, I've dated people where it's like, oh, Justine will do my laundry, she'll cook, she'll clean my house, blah blah blah, and then it was never like appreciated at all. I was like, okay, I don't just do this to do this. Like,
never.
You could pitch into. Yeah. All you have to do is say thank you. It's that simple.
70% of your day helping somebody else's situation out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, it translates into dating, because you give and you take, and you have to recognize when you're being taken advantage of, and that even comes emotionally, like, I've had some, past relationships where I felt like I was emotionally taken advantage of, like, because I'm so nice and I'm so caring when I do give it my all. So
2 words that I just learned, obviously, since I started dating 2 years ago. For the last 2 years, is the word empath and narcissist.
Oh, yeah. Narcissist.
And there's a lot of them out there.
I can relate
apparently.
to that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and it's
insane.
It is, and it's just, I think society all of a sudden is breeding, them.
Well, and then their kids are raised in a household where their father is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
you know, and that's, in my opinion, that's what narcissist is. They just do whatever they want. They don't think that they, you know,
They're
there should be
only
any
concerned about
repercussions.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no repercussions.
Their world revolves around them.
And that ain't real life, man.
No.
It's not. I think they start out strong. I think they start out complimentary, and I think that's what I've read about it. And then they kind of go into that self-only mode that you're referring to. But then I've met a couple empaths that, and they're like the missing piece for the narcissist, because they feel like they can fix people, right? So you get a narcissist or somebody that's abusive, and they're like, oh, I can fix him or her. But usually it's the female side that's has more empathy.
Yeah.
And that's scary too, to see the lengths that they'll go to please somebody else and get treated like shit the entire time, and think that, oh, there's still hope. I mean, they can do that for years, I guess, and that's crazy if they get into that, you know, situation with a narcissist, and it's just cyclical.
It's volatile.
It's very true.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very volatile.
Yeah.
And that's when things can get crazy, right? Because that's when a lot of physical abuse can start happening. Yeah, man. That's when they find your, like, the body under the floorboards, and kids are missing. Oh my God! Speaking of which, how sad is it about that guy who, like, murdered his 2 kids and his pregnant wife, and he just got 2 life sentences?
I know.
Well, he got 2 life sentences to avoid. I think he pled guilty to all the charges to avoid the death penalty. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Especially because he didn't, according to some of the testimony, nobody noticed him to be anything other than a nice guy.
That's how it always is.
Right.
Those are always crazies. Dude, that's insane though.
It is insane.
And then he, like, tried to store him in, was it oil tanks?
No, it was in the
barrels?
It was by the I think it was by the tanks. It was on the grounds of the oil field.
But like in barrels or something like that. He, like, put the kids in barrels, and the wife was just, like, out in the middle of the field or something. I don't know. Sad.
Yeah, well,
jacked up.
When we started talking about dating, I didn't think we'd go here.
Well, I was actually just tying that into dating, because it's kind of crazy when you meet, like, some random person and you have no idea who they are, and you have no idea what they're capable of. Like this girl who was dating a guy at University of Utah, and she was like one of their track athletes.
Yes.
And he just, like, walked up to her and just shot her and just dragged her to the car and shot her again.
Wow.
And she had just started dating this guy, had no idea who she thought he was, like some, like, outstanding dude. And he was a good looking dude.
I think he had charges though, because I was right.
Yeah, he did. But
yeah, and she didn't do background.
She didn't. Yeah, she didn't go to a repository.
Well, maybe there's a good.
I check repository.
Right?
Chicks, hell yeah, I do.
That's not a bad idea, but maybe that's what's good about social media, right? I mean, we talk about all the negativity about social media, but I think one of the good things about it is you can kind of talk to mutual friends, like, hey, do you know this guy, or do you know this girl?
There's pros and cons.
Yeah, there's pros. There's definitely a lot of cons, but I think there's some pros, you know. So you can check lifestyle and
who their common friends are. I've definitely sourced a lot of, like, possible dates through Facebook. I do.
Yeah.
Only to see how tied down their Facebook is. If I do have friends in common with them, who are those friends in common?
Yeah.
And
do they really know them?
Do they really network? Like, are those people even network friends? Like, do I know if those people that are in common even know each other?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they were just like, oh, confirm.
Just,
well,
like, random, like random friends. When you're hanging out with, like, 3 people who are from different chapters of my life, or if you got friends in common who are from, like, different chapters of my life and they're not even from, like, Idaho, chances are pretty good that you're not a real account. Or you might be just some crazy person adding a bunch of friends.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pretty tied down. Like, you can't really access. You can see my Instagram account, but, like, my Facebook and all that's just, like.
That's how mine is. If you're not, my Instagram's private and my Facebook. If you don't, like, know my friend, you can't even see my stuff.
I would love to do that. I can't, obviously, because of the book and because of the promotions I have to do. So
you can create another account. You can create like a business, like a professional page for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have a LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn that's that's a little bit more reserved than obviously the other social media sites, but because that's the professional side of obviously what I do for that company we talked about in the last show. But yeah, I don't know. Everything's like filleted wide open for me now that the book is out, and I've got to be a brand, so to speak, according to my social media people. So that part sucks.
But what I'm saying is, if you wanted to get off Facebook, technically, like, don't manage your pages with your personal account.
And I don't like now. I don't manage half of the content on there.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, because I created like a page, so if I do want to ghost Facebook on my personal accounts, I've got like just an account that I created just with admin privileges for my business stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So I can still stick up with business. Yeah. So if I want to take a break from my personal, because my personal page on Facebook goes back to like 2005. So there's a lot of shit on there. So if I ever like run for public office, I don't have a Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
They'll find shit on there from like 2006 and be like, "What? You said hi to that girl and she didn't say hi back? That's sexual assault."
Yeah,
and
right.
They'll blow everything out of the water. Oh my god, that's how everything goes nowadays.
Seriously, that's so true.
It really is.
Like we
don't
said,
get that politically
sensitive.
correct,
People
but-
are sensitive.
You never know, man. In the last 5 years, everything's gotten so politically correct. Which is another weird thing about dating nowadays. Like I've had, I've surprisingly, I date girls who are a little more liberal in their views and points of, in like certain ways that they view things, which is fine. But I'm a little more conservative in certain aspects and liberal in other aspects. For me, it's never been an issue actually with dating like girls who have different political points of view. But I try not to like talk a lot of politics. Do you guys have issues with people that you date that get all political on you? Because I've had a few who are like, "Are you a Trump fan?" Because I can't hang out with you, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? I just met you on Bumble. Like,
Chill.
let's get to the next stage in the conversation before we start getting mad at each other.
Yeah, I don't do the dating apps anymore. I haven't for quite a while, but and I don't talk politics. I kind of generally know what somebody's like, the pedigree, by their social media. You're like, oh, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But
some are so locked down, you have no idea who
yeah, I don't know.
expect.
I don't know what type you date, Justine. If you
The people I've dated or gone on dates with, we don't sit there. I mean, honestly, I don't really recall a date that we talk about politics, unless it's like, oh, did you hear about this with Trump or when it was Hillary, blah, blah, blah. But it was never like back and forth about it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it can be a topic, but it's never like a heated conversation.
Yeah, usually I just kind of shudder it. I'm like, I kind of don't really want to talk politics. I don't really.
Yeah.
I'm here to have dinner and.
Well, yeah, you're going to be able to change somebody's mind anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to start dating somebody. I've got to change their
date.
mind about her, the vice versa, right?
Yeah, totally. No, that's. But no, it's happened a few times, like on 2 or 3 dates where they just start wanting to talk politics, and I'm like, I don't really care to talk politics. Like,
Yeah.
rather
Let's
figure
save
out a
that,
little bit
like,
more.
down the road.
Yeah, let's talk about your goals, girl.
Yeah.
What are you doing for work nowadays? What do you want to do for work? Who do you want to take
You got a
care
room
of
for rent?
Yeah.
You got a room for rent. Dude, another one is that I have some hard times with is like girls who constantly will be on their phones the whole time you're on a date.
Oh my gosh.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's actually my problem.
time.
I've been called out on that, and only because I'm so busy with the checking.
work.
Yeah, well, that's mostly social media with the book side, but for promotional reasons. But so I've tried to temper it a little bit. My kids obviously emulate what you do. So if you're on the phone a lot.
But is it every time you're with someone? Because there's people who have to constantly be on their phone. And like for me, like, yeah, sure, I'm on my phone. But if I am hanging out with someone,
Yeah, you put
it's
it
normally
down.
face down how it is now.
Yeah.
But I also have an iWatch. So if I need to like see, okay, whatever. That's, I mean, but I don't
was just gonna
have
say
to engage in that. I'm totally comfortable. Like, I love camping. So it's nice to just kind of get away, or like you go boating, you don't have cell phone service.
Well, you can't look at it, right? You can't really
Exactly.
can't check it.
It's nice to disconnect, but most people know that, like, if you have to, like, a lot of times if you make it to a date, they're gonna probably think, knowing that you work and I work like 24/7. I think a lot of times that's usually going to be discussed before I even get to the dinner table. Be like, just based on how you work and whatnot. But I do explain to people, I'm like, if I am busy before I meet up with them, a lot of times I'll give them a heads up at dinner. Like when I get there, be like, hey, sorry, I might be on my phone for a little bit. I've got a bunch of messages coming through. I'm trying to schedule something.
But see, you
so I'm at least
pre-warn 'em.
nice about it.
Yeah.
I've been on dates where girls are just sitting there and they're like smiling and they're on their phone the whole time and they're just like, okay, and then they jump back into the conversation.
whatever, yeah.
And it doesn't really bother me, but at the same time, it's like
It's
have
kinda
a
awkward,
little
though.
respect. Yeah, like maybe excuse yourself to go to the bathroom if you're chatting with like
So
one of
it's
your
not-
girlfriends about
yeah.
the date. But like, it's a little disrespectful, I think.
Yeah.
For somebody to I don't know,
Mid conversation, they do that. Just kind of like
sometimes, yeah, they'll just
my
like
gosh.
look at their phone. But I'm the same way. I have a watch.
Yeah.
And so if it's important, it'll come through and I'll see it and then I'll excuse myself. But yeah, I have noticed that definitely with like the social media thing and people always being on their phones, especially on dates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and yeah, people don't call each other anymore. So
No.
it's like, if you do get a phone call, are you dying? No? Okay, text me.
Are you on fire? That's what I tell my
Yeah.
when I get a call from my kids. I'm like, is somebody on fire?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blood, choking, or fire.
Yeah, is there like a killer in the house? Like that. Those are the two caveats. So if that's not happening,
Well,
then-
that's how my parents were growing up. If you call me, I know it's serious. If you call me more than once, then it's really bad. So
yeah, it's
we
cataclysmic.
refrained from calling too much. You know?
Yeah. I like calling. I think it's I like to get things across and have that
It's easier.
yeah,
You
that
get
connection.
the tone in your voice, because you can
Yeah.
read anything over text a
Totally.
certain way. So
Totally.
everything
Yeah.
gets misplaced on how it's represented. I'm like, no, I wasn't mad at you. I just put a period.
Yeah.
Chill.
That's another thing. And now the emojis
I know.
and
Yeah, so that's funny you say that because and she was 26 or 27, and I wasn't attaching emojis to the things I was saying sarcastically, and that was a big problem. So
it confuses the shit out of people.
well, they were like that was rude. Like I would get that was rude, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I forgot to attach the laugh like the laugh out
Yeah.
loud emoji or
Like,
whatever.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I do too. But then you can tell something's wrong. Like, oh, she didn't send the hard eyes back. What's up, girl? What's
She
going
doesn't
on?
feel the same
this?
way.
You're just not
What's
feeling
this
it.
drama?
Right.
Oh my god. Maybe I should write her a letter.
I just have to
can't.
learn how to be all that extra that all these people are nowadays. I can't.
I reciprocate. Is what I do. But if I'm not interested, then obviously I'm not going to.
You're not, yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to definitely reciprocate at least one or two emojis. Some people just blow up emojis.
Oh, I know.
There's like 20 emojis and like 4 words.
That's
and
a
I'm like,
warning sign for me.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, whoa, okay.
Totally.
That's one red flag, and then you kind of add them up. And
It's hieroglyphs
you're like,
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Soon we used to make it a joke that, we don't have to learn how to spell anymore because it's autocorrects everything. And now that there's emojis, you don't even have to learn words anymore. You just put a picture there and
Yeah.
people know exactly what you're talking about.
Or you think they do.
Or you think they do.
Did you just laugh at the end of that? Because
Yeah.
you should have put a.
That
thumb.
wasn't
Yeah.
funny. These are my feelings.
Yeah. Well,
So, so I just found out, and this is all new to me, but so, and not to delve too much into the sexual side of dating, but I just realized there's bases, and they've changed considerably since I was young.
yeah.
And
Sure.
so somebody informed me, and I kid you not, that the bases nowadays is first base is intercourse, which blew me away. Second base is being seen in daylight with the person, which I was like, what? Like, because I guess that shows more commitment. You know?
Wow, I'm learning something right now, too.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" This is just. It seemed like it was a joke, and she's like, "No."
How
totally
old is
serious."
this girl?
Your age. So,
Oh, well.
and then the third base is being seen on social media together with the person. So it's inverted
Okay.
Yeah.
to me from what I'm used to from when I was young. I don't know if
True.
yeah.
Well, because when we were growing up, it was like
First
people
base
saw
was
you guys
kissing.
hanging out, holding
Yeah.
hands, kissing was
Kissing,
first
yeah.
base. Second base was like little titty grab.
Yeah.
Well, I was like over the sweater, and that
Little-
that was a
little
big
grab
that was a
ass,
big
yeah.
deal when I was
That's
you
if
know,
you're stealing
Justine's
second
age.
base. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm like, wait a minute.
Third-
So if I'm on social media with her, that's like, oh, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal,
So I was
dude.
like, wow.
You're like, oh my gosh.
I hung out with a girl for like 4 months. We didn't even have a picture or nothing on Facebook.
I like
nothing.
that. I like that a lot. That's good.
Yeah. I didn't push it. I don't care.
That's how it should be.
Some people
Well,
are
I
so
don't
into
think
that
people,
though.
Yeah, I don't think. I think it's cool to see people happy, but at the same time, it's not like a requirement for me to feel good about this person.
But that's how some people are. They need that like
That
Affirmation.
reassurance and
Yeah.
that affirmation.
How come you don't post me on your blah blah blah?
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
like,
Yeah, have you gotten that?
Yeah.
'Cause
oh, I've gotten that.
I know you have.
I'm like, holy shit,
I
serious?
have, and
That's what you care about?
that's I never I'm not going to post a status until I'm married. Like that's just I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and even then I might not. I mean, I don't know.
I don't even think it's a thing to put in a relationship really on Facebook
No,
anymore.
but it happens
like,
a lot. You see it a
Isn't
lot,
it?
and then you see it like again and again from the same person.
Yeah, I'm like,
Right?
there are those people. Yes.
There are definitely
Oh,
troubled
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I have one on mine, and she's constantly like engaged and in a relationship, and then out of one and single. And every time it pops up, like every few months, I'm like, just fucking get married to somebody. Get
one.
married to
Pick
somebody.
Just
one
go
of
to
those.
Vegas and figure it out.
Just figure it out, girl.
Pick one of those candidates and stick with it.
Yeah.
Totally. But
Go to the
quit
Bachelor and get it
blowing
over
up-
with.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point where it dwindles down where like people there's like 3 likes like again. The comments are like,
Right.
who's this guy?
Well, it sucks you can boil everything down to a meme because I would like to think life is bigger than that.
Yeah.
But when you see memes that are so appropriate, like one I saw, I'm trying to remember exactly, but it said, "Why go on The Bachelor when you could just like talk to a guy that's talking to 15 other girls?"
Oh, that's so true.
And I was like, "Wow, that's pretty on the money."
Totally
that,
on the
you know what I
money.
mean?
Totally on the money. Yeah.
Or vice versa, or invert the sexes
Yeah.
in that and say the same thing. But crazy, man.
I had a girl in here who has had a lot of dating problems, and she came in last week, and I recorded an episode just
What was the episode about?
dating.
So this is like
I never published it.
Yeah.
I've got a couple. I've got like I've got a bunch of episodes that I don't publish. I do a lot, but yeah, it was on dating, and I ended up publishing it on YouTube, just not on like iTunes and stuff like that. I just did the video. I might publish the audio, but I get way more listens than views.
sure.
But yeah, basically she was dating a guy. I guess she'd been dating a guy for a while, and it turns out he had like 4 other chicks. That he
Oh,
was,
gosh.
and I was like, dude, I don't even have time to hang out with myself, let alone 4 other people.
It's
like,
it's a full-time job.
Seriously.
That's what
It
freaks
is.
me out is like if you are
It
interested in
is.
more
when
than
you're
one
talking
person,
to
yeah.
that many people,
Yeah.
I can't.
I get so
I
annoyed.
get mad at my phone. I'm like, quit fucking talking to me right now. Like, leave me alone. I've got other things to do.
Well,
You
I
know?
like to get paid for what I do, and I'm not saying I'm into prostitution because that's not where I'm going with this with this line of questioning. But you know what I mean. So I want to be able to just engage with one person conversationally and then work.
Yeah.
And if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people, you're like, wow, this is taking 4 or 5 hours out of my day cumulatively.
Oh yeah.
And you just don't get anything done.
You
So,
don't get anything
yeah.
done. Talking to 2 different people, you don't get anything
No.
done.
No.
No.
So true.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then I always tell people, you got to make it a priority. If you want to talk to me, like you text me first. So if you're an important person in my life, you got my phone number, text me. Don't get on Facebook. Don't get on Instagram.
Right.
Don't get on Snapchat. My priority is number 1, text message, phone call, text message, Facebook, Instagram, probably LinkedIn and Snapchat. Like, you're probably not going to get a response after the 3rd one.
Hopefully not, right?
And yeah, and if you're going to talk to me on anything below Instagram, like Instagram, Snapchat, it's a statement. It's not a question. You just respond to something.
Yeah.
If you want to fucking talk to me on something I'm going to talk to you on. It's just too many. I have too many accounts, dude. I've
It's hard, yeah.
I've got too many accounts nowadays. And if
bet.
you have a business account and a personal account,
Right.
and then you have all 4 of those, apps, then you have
You don't want to check all of those all the time.
You've got, your all those accounts. Yeah, and shit's coming in all the time. I try to explain that to people. Like, well, you need to get back in touch with me. Text me, dude.
Yeah.
Especially with a girl. Text me. Don't Snapchat me and expect me to respond. Like,
I don't live
it's
on
not,
my phone.
yeah, that's not even that's not personal engagement to me. Snapchat's meant to just flood the masses with stupid photos. To me, a lot of these apps are basically for self-glorification and,
And they're time consuming.
It's extremely time-consuming.
Which, if you don't have something to sell, if you're not a brand or you're not, I mean, granted, it works especially for women because they get so many followers that people realize they can be influencers by sending them products and having.
Oh, that's true.
Right. But if you've got
Just don't correspond
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
Like, if you want to get my attention, if you want to communicate and talk to me, be personal. Don't, like, hit me up on an app where everybody can talk to me.
Yeah,
like,
make an effort.
at all times. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Text messages, man. That's what I tell everybody. Just text me, please, or call me. Just, like, make it very personal, because Snapchat, nah. Instagram, get back to me in 12 hours.
All those pictures, like I said, all those pictures are just of just your day to day, and I find that exceedingly boring.
So
if you're
boring.
not marketing something.
Totally.
Like, you're showing me your cats, in 15 different videos on Snapchat.
I know, I'm like, holy crap, they have like all these little dashes across the top of their
I see that, I was
Instagram, and I'm like,
oh Lord.
okay, I'm X, I'm out.
Yeah, which is I mean, that's the one thing that's nice about Instagram, right? Is you can unfollow somebody if that stuff happens too much, or vice versa. They can unfollow you for various reasons. But yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to see a story that's I want to be interested in your life without having to see 15 stories a day.
Totally.
Right.
No, I'm right there with you.
But like we talked about earlier, that's how people like live through everybody's life.
Instead of seeing them personally and doing things.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Phone call. They don't do that.
My high school reunion was ruined by Facebook in 2014.
Wow.
Everybody's like, we have a group, and everybody's on the group, and I can see what everybody's doing. So why are we going to spend money and buy like a $50 food ticket to go see everybody we can see on social media? And it did. It ruined our 10-year reunion.
That's sad.
Yeah. It is, but at the same time, I mean, that's evolution, man. Like, I don't know anybody who's doing 10-year anniversaries anymore, or reunions, or whatever.
I think my high school did. I think they're doing a 20-year.
Are they?
Yeah, which I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to see those people 20 years after high school.
Yeah, some are probably doing the same thing.
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't date my age range anyway. So why am I going to go to that to see? Because I'm already friends with the guy, like one or two guys that I went to high school with, and I stay in touch with those people. So why go? I'll see all the guys and all the women that you used to date when you're in high school that you're not interested in now. I mean, that sounds callous, but I'm all about time management.
True.
And I don't want to manage my time.
Exhaust your resources, differently.
That's why I wish you had a 30-second trailer before you met someone. Like, oh, okay, good. Glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
I'd have a good one. I need to get a good. Well, I have to get something similar. And it's electronic press kit. Yeah. If you want to do speaking engagements,
Oh, there you go.
And so it's like that. It's like a 30-second trailer of your life and what you
your
do.
brand.
Yeah.
I had to brand myself for a conference one time. I had to get up in front and do like a 2-minute branding, talk about how I would brand myself, and I was like, oh, fucking no.
Yeah.
But they should. You should have like, they have like a rateme.com or something where it's like you can rate people.
Wow.
And give them stars, like 5 stars.
Well,
like,
this guy's
good
subjective,
person.
isn't it? Isn't it subjective?
Totally.
So if you've been dating recently and you've got a whole bunch of people that you've pissed off, then I'm sure your rating's going down on.
Well, don't go out dating a bunch of people and pissing people off to where they're going to give you a low star, man. If you care about
that's
your
human
rating.
nature, man. Right? People don't care. I mean,
can be. I don't do that. So, but it's definitely common. There's a lot of people who got.
I don't have enough time in the day to go give people gold stars. I'd be like, I could care less.
I think that happens too much in life where they give everybody. My son.
Everybody gets gold stars now.
My son just played football for the Optimist club, and his team won the bowl game. And I noticed that the award ceremony, which was on the field after they won, they handed the same trophy to the losing team.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that stuff happened anymore. That blows me away.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Because parents get so uptight about that. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Sensitive. Seriously, the
turn it
word
into?
sensitive is what this generation is.
That's so sad.
And that's being, obviously imparted on their children, and they'll carry that into their dating habits as well. So there you go. There's like full circle.
There's a participation trophy for everybody, and it carries on in their professional lives.
That's so weird they do that. Like with me in soccer, they didn't do that.
Well,
like
they didn't either when I was young, and it was a big deal. Like, oh well, next year you'll do better next year.
Yeah.
And now it's like, nope, you get the same size trophy. I mean, it's the trophy that they handed my son's team was, this high off the table, and so was the trophy they handed the losing team. And I was like, that's...
Why even keep score at that point?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the point of... Yeah.
Just scrimmage them.
And that confuses the winners, right? So
yeah. It does, and it teaches people who win that your hard work isn't worth it, and it teaches people who don't work that you can get away doing absolutely nothing. You can just get by. It teaches absolutely shitty work ethic on both sides, because now the people who did work that hard, they're like, the next time they're going to be asked to do something or to put themselves in an uncomfortable position to grow, they're going to be like, nah, last time I did that, everybody else got a fucking free ride, so why am I going to do that? That's
exactly
how we do. We're very adaptive, man.
And I think that's what I worry about dating, younger women, is that they'll have that same mental attitude.
Totally.
That, oh, I deserve this. And, oh, really? I didn't. We're not even there yet, and you already have established what you feel you deserve. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean they don't deserve to get treated. I mean, they obviously deserve to be treated with respect and to everything that you'd expect, but like they deserve, like you said, like pay for my drink, pay for my meal, even though I was the one that asked you out. So it just gets to that point where it's like, oh, so who's entitled, and what do I have to do to make sure that you still feel entitled?
Yeah.
So
well, it's something you have to. I don't think it's everybody, but for the most part, I think what we have to do is like figure out better ways to screen people. Like without having to hit up their friend and be like, yo, is this chick fucking crazy? Like, can I trust to like hang out with her and her not be a stage 5 clinger?
I don't know, man. I still believe I'm still like a stupid romantic. I mean, that's what happened with my wife. Like, I was love at first sight, like, and I didn't think that existed until that happened, because I didn't really date much, and I was busy. I was with the federal government back then, so I was super busy, but I'd like to still think that exists.
It does,
but I don't know anymore.
But it's an organic thing.
And organic rarely happens, right?
Very rare.
And how creepy are you if you go to Whole Foods or or you get right, or you
picking up some apples too?
Oh yeah. How do you segue that?
I love green apples. Love those Granny Smiths.
It's so good to meet you in the meat section. I don't know.
What are you doing Saturday, by the way?
I mean, that's just, you don't hear about that anymore. It's either somebody met somebody at work, or they met over a social media platform, all over dating.
Every girl that I've ever dated, I've met them in real life. Like, I've met them in real life.
That's really cool.
I think that's awesome, man.
I've been on a lot of like dating app dates, but it usually doesn't transpire in anything.
Yeah.
Mostly because I meet other girls in real life that are just like the draw is there. It doesn't
Clicks
feel
better,
yeah.
I want to hear about all the catfishes that you experienced, Tim. You gotta have some stories.
Dude, I don't
really?
Actually, none, man. I don't really get catfished. Dude, I've had like one girl though that I've hung out with a couple times that like totally she's done some crazy shit. Like one time I ran out to my car to grab this condom. It's a long time ago.
This is getting good, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Ran out to my
Keep
car to grab
going.
this condom, and like and I was like, yeah, I'll be back in like 20 seconds. And it was like 11 o'clock, and this girl had to get up at like 5 the next morning. So it was a late night anyways. And I had practice the next day. So ran out to my car, and I grabbed...
What were condoms doing in your car, bud?
I don't know why. They should have been in my pocket.
You have some strange encounters, man.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Mike
I run
and
to
the
my
boys.
car. You're a college kid, yeah. Run to my car, go back to the house, and the door's locked. So I knock on the door, and I'm like, the lights are off. What's going on? And I look around, I look down, and all my shit is on the doorstep. And she had packed all my shit, so she just basically like put all my shit on the doorstep and locked the door.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
You're leaving.
And I was like, that's fucking savage.
That's
savage.
probably the most savage thing I've ever
Right.
heard.
But I got a free dinner out of it. But
There you go.
but yeah, that's one of the that's one of those stories.
Okay, that's some smart thinking. Like, go get the condom.
Yeah, and
See ya, buddy.
House,
That's
go to
her
bed.
opportunity to
That's exactly what
lock
it
you
was.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I messaged her and I was like, "Not cool, girl. Not cool.
Not cool. You could have just said no.
I hope you oversleep your alarm."
I was telling Justine about a buddy of mine that just he came home from the California wildfires where he was working to a divorce request from his wife, and which is pretty savage, but she had been brewing over it for a while, and he immediately got on the dating app. So it was immediately on Bumble and Tinder, and I was like, man, maybe that's not the best thing for you to do this early in the game for a variety of reasons, right? But he's already been catfished, and I was like, wow, what was that like? And he's like, well, it wasn't exactly who I saw in the pictures.
See, and I don't understand why people do that. Why would you do that?
I don't know. I think at that point they're hoping it's just too late. They're like, oh, I guess I'll go with it. you know?
I'll
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they will like me.
I just
Right.
vet people really well. Like I always, I search them on
Yes, you have
Facebook.
to.
If they don't have a Facebook profile and I can't find them, I don't know.
Like we have 2 mutual friends. You have like 100 friends.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand new
Weird.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That is another thing I look for. I look to see if their account was created before like 2014.
Yeah, right?
I do. Unless I know the person and there's
Then
a
it's-
reason why
yeah.
it's a new account because they're like
Yeah.
a divorcee and they want to delete their life. But because really our entire lives are on Facebook and Instagram and stuff
are.
nowadays. They
It's
really
so
are.
true.
And if you like delete it, you lose a lot. Like that's a scrapbook for the last 12 years of your life. It's a digital scrapbook. If you look at
It totally
it,
is.
it's got pictures of past relationships on there somewhere. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the things
Yeah.
I've been tagged in.
Yeah. 2 years
All
ago,
the
you did this.
stuff.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff people could pull up on me. All the dirt. And shit.
Lots of dirt.
Lots of dirt.
Yep.
On those like memories that
Yeah.
pop up. I'm like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Or your, yeah,
Probably
your
shouldn't have
status
the-
that you make. I'm
Definitely
like,
not
I said
reposting that. Yeah.
Probably shouldn't
Why
have
did I
drank.
post that?
Shouldn't have drank that much.
Yeah, right.
Now I know I don't have any friends.
Yeah, 4 people liked that. Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that was a lame status.
That was when the Facebook was first created. That you'd put something down, not thinking it would show up
Yeah.
later in a search. You're like, oh boy.
And it does.
Yeah.
It was like Twitter, though. Everybody, it was cool to make a status.
On Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, that was like 2008, I think was when
Remember, I
started
was talking about. Yeah, when it was created, I was talking about my kid had his first poop where he, was actually like wiped and
doing this. Yeah.
all that stuff, and then we were talking about getting all you can eat soft serve at Sizzler and just stupid stuff like that, right? Like that was a big deal for me.
Yeah,
I was like,
totally.
"Woo!"
And when you posted like when you posted it, it wasn't like share what you're thinking. It was Tim is, and it had is where the typing part was. So so now when I look back on the old first time that you could post a status. Because
Yeah.
on MySpace, you could post a status kind of underneath it. You could do like a tagline. Not a status, but like a tagline at the top. But like when you could finally do that, it was like Tim is. So it's like Tim is not stoked that I have to go to football practice today. But it was like a personal line. And
Yeah.
it was in a first person
Yeah.
versus like just a statement of whatever it is that I was thinking. It almost forced you into saying what you were doing or what you thought. So when I look back on those, I'm like, dude, I said some weird stuff. And it's because it forces you to say stupid
Right?
shit. Because like otherwise, I probably would have said it completely different. But when it pushes you and forces you into that first person, with guys that you date, what's the age range of guys that you date?
So I've learned that dating anybody around my age is too immature.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I try to go for, if I can, in their late 20s, early 30s. Mid 30s it doesn't really bother me for that. But like you were talking about, socially acceptable, I feel like the age gap nowadays is so socially acceptable.
It is because somebody came out with that, and I don't know if it was a meme or if it was like an actual fact, but that guys don't mature until 40 and beyond.
I actually Googled that. Have you seen that meme where it's like, I Googled at what age a man fully matures, and it
Yes.
said 43, I'm out.
Yeah.
I Googled it after that. It literally says 43.
Dang.
Yeah. And I think that's true.
I'm always growing up though, man. I feel like I'm always learning.
we
new
always-
shit.
yeah. Because I was married and at the time and was a selfish as fuck guy. And I hate to use that, but it was true. Like I was still selfish. I was still, I was faithful, and of course I was, good to my wife in other ways. But I would get on my motorcycle and be like, "Hey, I'm taking out with my friends," and she'd be like, "You have kids," and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's what I want to do today." And she's like, "You're just thinking about yourself." Well, I had that come to Jesus meeting where, I got in a motorcycle wreck and broke bilateral femurs and
Oh, you told me about that.
Yeah, was in the hospital bed and was like, I am really screwing up bad and I can't do this anymore. I can't be this guy.
Yeah.
And had that moment and actually acted on it. So, and that was late in life. That was late 30s. And I was like, wow, man, I wonder if a lot of guys have this or they don't.
Yeah.
But it changed me And I hope everybody gets to that point. Maybe hopefully sooner than later. But
See, the oldest I've
crazy.
dated, like actually dated, was a 27-year-old, and he was still beyond immature. Like
Yeah.
everybody puts on that curtain, it seems like, when you first date them, and then you really get to know them. And I'm like, whoa, whoa.
Weird. Yeah.
It's crazy how
Yeah.
like some people change though. You date them for a while, and you're like, okay, the first like 4 months that we've been hanging out, like what was that?
it was that
Is that fake?
it was that trailer you were talking about.
Yeah.
That 30-second trailer.
Oh,
Yeah, get used to it, because that's
I
literally
know.
the dating world for the next 10 years, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
For as
it's
long
probably
as
going to
you're
get a lot
dating.
worse, I would imagine, right?
True,
Sure, I'm
true.
sure.
The thing that sucks is, and I've got a small circle of friends that obviously that I trust and that's important to me, and they're all still married. So I'm like the third wheel, I'm the guy that's not married, but so I don't get invited to everything. But
third wheel life.
yeah, right. But that still gives me hope seeing those couples. I was
Yeah.
out with them last night. We had our Friendsgiving down at Lucky Finn's because I was with one of the owners. And the tree lighting ceremony was outside, so we let all our kids sit at one end of the table, and we all sat at another. And the kids would get to go out to the tree lighting while we sat and drank, of course. But it was 3 couples, and they're all still married. And I was like, "Fuck, there is hope."
Yeah, there is hope. Both my
So-
brothers, they've been married for like 10 years. I have sisters who've been married for like 10 years. So
That's what I'm. That's
There
what I'm-
are those people though that go all in and they stay all in.
Yeah.
They want to.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be both of them, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays it's you're dating someone, but you're looking for the next best thing, is what it seems like. That's just what it seems like it is.
Well, social
It's
media
sad.
doesn't help with that
It
either.
doesn't.
No, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
Everybody's happy-go-lucky. Everybody's got the perfect life, but it's not.
Or that's
it's
how
not
they
reality.
convey it, and then they break up, and you're like, you looked so happy. What the crap?
Yeah, right.
Totally.
You got to be honest with each other, and there's got to be open communication, and that's key. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that. I mean, when I was deploying, and we talked about this in the last radio show for the book, but my wife is getting blown up because she went. She's about to go IFBB Pro with fitness and all that stuff. So when she did that, and she had an Instagram and a Facebook, she was getting blown up by guys like left and right, like 4 to 8 ads.
Swinging dicks
a
left
day.
and right.
Oh yeah, and I'm
All
like, man,
day, dude.
I'm deployed. Like I can't affect change there. So you got to have a really rock solid relationship and open communication, and you got to pick your battles.
Well, yeah, same. Yeah. My ex-girlfriend she would just show me some of the messages guys would send to her, and I'd be like, "Holy fuck! Do these guys not have like? Do they have no regard for like what they're saying? Like,
Some don't. They
Like,
don't care.
dude,
You
like-
should see my messages I get. I'm
oh
like,
my god!
Are you
I'm sure you get
serious?
blown up.
oh yeah. I
And
had
they're
a-
just
ugh.
disgusting, probably. Some of the stuff that
Yes.
this girl would read to me, I'd be like, "Oh my god, I am a sick fuck sometimes," but I wouldn't even be able to think of some of that stuff.
I don't.
Especially
I
to
don't-
someone you don't actually know. Like I've had a guy that's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to please you," and I'm like, "What does that even mean? Please you in the bedroom, mama?"
Financially.
And
Oh,
this
no,
and
not
that. Oh
financially?
yeah, and not yeah.
Yeah.
But he said that he like listed all these things, and I'm like, "Okay, block." I was so weirded out.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
should be.
There's
much.
just things where I'm like, okay,
Those are
Well,
the
do they think that
dudes.
works? I mean, that's my question. Because
it does not work.
Well, a lot of traveling, a lot of times, like, I would read these messages from guys that were going through town, and they would, like, message her and be like, "Hey, I'm just traveling through Boise, and I see that you have, like," because she was a photographer, so, like, "Oh, I see that you do, like, photography, and I wanted to see if you want to hang out and grab some coffee." And then, like, 2 hours later, after she wouldn't write him back, they'd be, like, drunk at that time. Be like, "Oh, to be honest with you, I just want to fuck you," and, like, all this crazy stuff, like, "I want
Yeah.
to do this to you."
well,
and
yeah,
this
that's
to you,
the
weird
that's
stuff.
the,
And I'm
the
like,
hook, right? Like they say something to get them hooked.
"Let's
and
get
then-
coffee,"
yeah.
and then they don't get a response, and they're like, "Well, she didn't respond to coffee."
Yeah,
So let's bring out the big boys here.
Yeah.
Let's talk some shit.
raise the
yeah.
bar.
But I mean, that's what's scary about that is like that might be the dude that ends up like disposing of your body in a
Yeah.
fucking field, like between here and Mountain Home.
Yeah, you could,
know,
right?
like,
I mean, even some
Yeah.
Uber drivers have been accused of that.
Oh my
so,
gosh,
and they
I
vet
know.
and they vet those.
and they
like,
do vet
yeah.
up. Yeah, a dude in China like killed somebody. An Uber driver in China like raped him. Really
Well, I don't know how they vet them in China, but
It's
there's a
Uber.
couple billion. There's a billion people there, so that's harder. you got a lot of candidates, potential candidates for Uber drivers, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know they do that here, and to think that that's a risk here still is is crazy, right? So if
Yeah.
that's
Scary.
yeah.
Like I said, I get on the repository and I look chicks up. I had a girl
Mhm.
ask me out and try to hang out with me, and she kind of came off as a little crazy when I looked through her like profile, like emotionally unstable crazy. This girl had like 2 DUIs. She had
Oh
like
my gosh.
like an assault charge. She had a battery charge.
And you didn't want to date her, Tim? What's wrong with you, man?
You know, I'm a nice guy. I give people chances, but not a rap sheet of chances.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my shit together and I've got a reputation.
But you kind of want someone who has their shit together.
And I want somebody who has either got their shit together or they're working on getting their shit together and they don't have a bad reputation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, it's a reflection of you too
it
when you
is.
date someone.
100%.
like that.
And that's another issue is you got to vet.
Yeah, I mean, you
people
didn't
for
want to
their
be seen
reputation.
in public with a felon. I mean, what's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I don't know. Not really. She was
Weird.
like-
Yeah.
She was a massage. She
That's
was a
the new thing?
massage. She was a masseuse or whatever. I ran into her at the store, organic. Ran into this chick at the store and at Marshall's. She started talking to me. Apparently, we went to high school together. But she's like, "Yeah, you should come and book a massage and hang out." And she started hitting me up on Facebook, and like I would leave me alone. I wouldn't answer it.
Yeah.
But like
Scene.
aggressive. Yeah. Like I
Jeez.
want to hang out with you this weekend. You should come hang out with me. No, girl, I didn't answer your last 5 messages. Leave me alone.
Isn't that weird? Especially if you view it and they
crazy.
keep going.
Oh, I know. It's
I
weird.
just want somebody that wants to go to Costco as much as I do and spend all kinds of
Eat hot dog, $1.50 hot dogs.
Not even that, like buy like lawn chairs and stuff that you don't need when you went there.
You want
right?
to just
I
go
mean,
sample at Costco? Let's go, babe.
Buy 2.5 pounds of asparagus
I
at Costco.
love that place, but
don't
I mean,
need
you see
that.
some pretty serious couples like browsing the aisles, man. That's
These guys are hardcore, though.
with like kids swinging from their arms and
Oh,
the
yeah.
couple's still like madly in love. So
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
They're
it looks
looking
pretty
at,
cool.
at all the next bestsellers. They're looking at a failed state on the table.
They better. It's when it finally ends up there at Costco. That's,
Yeah, right?
That'll be a good thing, right? I'll be standing next to it, like flipping the book up, so it's
Yeah.
like on its end, so you can see the cover.
What you should do is you should put a wedding ring, 2 wedding rings on there, and just call it a failed state and sell it to all the happy.
Well, that's exactly what it's
people.
about. I mean, that's what and so the Greenbelt magazine's coming out with an assessment, of interview of me in the book, and that's the conclusion she came to. She's like, "Oh, it's a failed state, not just of Afghanistan and the war-torn country, but of marriages because of the toll it takes." I'm like, "My gosh, you're good."
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's exactly what the book's about, and why 75% of my readership is female. It's because they want to see a vulnerable male character, right? And that, but then again, that therein lies the problem is that if you can't have a decent marriage when somebody's fighting for their country or they're fighting for or serving their country, how are you going to have one here at home? When you're forced to live with each other all the time and deal with each other day in and day out. So you got to have a pretty strong constitution.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Should we wrap this up real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good hour and a half.
Wow,
Not
yeah.
too bad. Time flies in
That
here.
flew, right?
Time flies. I've done 5 and 6 hour shows in here before.
Oh my
so.
gosh.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd listen to a 5-6 hour podcast.
You know what's funny? My number 1 downloaded podcast of all 60 plus shows is a 4.5 hour show.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What was the topic?
It's Conspiracy Theories 2. It's
Oh, well, there
Turtle.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people start cleaning and they just pop stuff on and listen to it.
I've listened to
too.
a 4 hour on conspiracy theories. You bet.
Yeah, my averages are like 2.5 hours. This is like a little shorter for Channel 99, but
Yeah.
we all got stuff to do, and we'll just have you guys back on because this is great content.
You'll just shelve this one
We'll
with
just
all the other ones. That
Yeah.
right? And be
No,
like,
this
"Oh."
is awesome. I'm glad you hit me up tonight because I was thinking today I didn't have any scheduled guests, and I was hitting up artists to be like, "You want to come do a free acoustic set and like let me record you so I can just do something tomorrow?"
Oh, now you got some content, right?
Yeah, I definitely have some content. So I'll probably publish this on what just happened? There we go. I'll probably publish this on I might publish it like Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. I could probably publish it tonight, but I need something for next week.
I'll have to explain myself to a whole bunch of people.
Well, I've got you scheduled for next Saturday too. So
yeah, so I
if
can
you-
apologize.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry about saying that.
So if you want to come back and we could do a follow up or whatever, it's whatever. But
Yep.
anyways, everybody who's listening in, make sure that you subscribe on any podcast aggregator. So it's going to be Stitcher, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Spotify. Give us 5 stars. Share the episode. We all know that you know somebody who sucks at dating, and
Preach. Preach.
yeah, and it's not easy to be good at dating nowadays. So once again, we've got Andrew Coussens. This dude is the author of A Failed State. We've got Justine as well as our other guest, and we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye-bye.